Thank you.
Dwayne Gaston O'Quan, also known as Cash Creek Charlie. Sheila Rogers, dancing partner.
So we'll get started with the final event of the final Call to Gather. It's been a pleasure to be here at the TRC Atlantic National event. It's my first time being on the East Coast and I love it. I'm addicted. I'm coming back. Yes, thank you. I've been invited to Member 2. I've been invited to Millbrook. We're fighting over Glooskap.
Actually, my dad's oldest sister decided for her that she was going to come back for a family wedding, so...
I wasn't invited, I was told. Coming back.
So, we would like to invite up Commissioner Murray Sinclair, please, to do an acknowledgement of survivors. Commissioner Sinclair?
I am so tall because you have lifted me up. I'm going to deviate slightly from the normal practice at this time. I want to begin by asking all of the intergenerational survivors, all of you who are children, grandchildren of survivors, please stand up so we can acknowledge you. Intergenerational survivors, please stand up. Your presence here all right, stop hogging my spotlight. Please sit down. Your presence here has done so much for the survivors. They have been the ones, of course, from whom we have heard the most and about whom we have heard the most. But the one constant theme I said we would hear as we started out these 4 days of this national event was the importance to survivors of you. And so the fact that you are here, and we know that there are many who've had to leave because of pending weather conditions that are coming to this part of the country. But because of you and because of your presence here and your sharing this time with them, you have done a great deal to help the survivors to move on that path of healing that they feel is so important. So I just wanted to acknowledge you and thank you very much. The survivors who have spoken to us, the survivors who have shared their stories with us, the survivors who have been courageous enough to participate in the sharing circles, in the commissioner panels, and the dialogues on reconciliation that we had, I'd like you all to stand up so we can acknowledge you. All of you survivors who shared your statements with us, whether it's in the private gathering, the commissioner's panel, in the public gathering, please stand up. I want to acknowledge you and I want to honor you. I want to tell you how very much we appreciate what you have done for us and how much we as commissioners truly love you and all of your colleagues survivors. Miigwech.
Thank you, Commissioner Sinclair.
Sheesh. Next, we'd like to call up Alan Knockwood for expressions of reconciliation on behalf of Nora Bernhardt's family. Sheesh. Please give him a welcome.
Masanogama, Claudio. We came through a horrible Holocaust called Indian Residential School. We survived that Holocaust. This lady helped get us here. On behalf of her family, my cousin, I'd like to present this banner to the TRC for all of your work. And we are so grateful for your presence here and your help. With all of you.
That is so beautiful. Thank you. Chief Alan.
Thank you very much, Alan. So up next we have the honorary witness, and it's Michael Taylor. And I'm pretty sure you heard about it, but it's really our traditional ways to have witnesses to carry these stories and to remember it, as I've heard, I think it was yesterday, to remember it so it can never happen again. It's a very important part of the TRC's process, and I think it's a wonderful part. I know there was other witnesses as well, so can all the witnesses who are here please stand up? I would like to acknowledge what you guys have been doing. Yep, you guys are witnesses, stand up for your work, 4 days of witnessing this. Yesterday, I really want to acknowledge the youth, honorary youth that were the witnesses. They were wonderful speakers, and it gives me great faith for our future. So our next honorary witness is Michael Taylor.
I would like to acknowledge the ground that we stand on this afternoon, the territory of the Mi'kmaq and the Maliseet people. Commissioners of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission of Canada, Justice Marie Sinclair, Chief Hilton Littlechild, and Mrs. Marie Wilson, chiefs and leaders of the many communities represented here, survivors, families, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thank you. I am Michael Abdurrashid Taylor, a father, a son, a brother, a friend, a religious leader in the Muslim community in Toronto, work in part for the United Church of Canada, work in part with the Ontario Multi-Faith Council. I'm an immigrant to Canada from Barbados in the Caribbean in 1978, and a Canadian Muslim of African descent that works in religious, ethnocultural, peace, diversity, and restorative practices circles. I am present here at this Atlantic National event as an honorary witness to this process of truth and reconciliation. Someone that was invited into this very significant process to bear witness to the reality and the difficult page in our country's history, that of the residential school system. To bear witness to the impacts of the residential schools on the lives of the people that lived the experience, the impacts on the generations that followed the survivors, to the impacts on the extended family members and family structures, to the impacts of the religious bodies that had a major role in the organizing and maintaining of the schools, and the impacts on how we see ourselves as a country, Canada, and as a people, Canadians. So I bear witness. I bear witness to the pain of the survivors who found the courage to tell their story. Their stories of abuse, of deprivation, of fear, and all of the difficulty, the inhumanity, and the oppression that forever marred the bodies, minds, and spirits of the survivors. I bear witness, and I hear the stories of the people that spoke publicly and the stories of the people who have shared their stories with me individually. Those times on the couches, those times on the tables, having a cup of coffee, a glass of water, fruit. Those times I bear witness. I bear witness to the acts and gestures of reconciliation made by the churches and others who are engaged in the process and the efforts that continue to be made in the magnanimous attempt at truth and reconciliation. My journey here to this point, to this podium, has been a difficult journey of pain and discovery. I discovered the reality of the schools, the impacts of the experience of so many people here, and the courage of those people that spoke publicly and those that had the courage to attend even this national event. I want to say thank you to those that shared so much. Thank you for inviting me into your pain and your experiences. In my days here, I heard a lot of pain, but witnessed more than that. I also witnessed resilience. The resilience of the people who have survived the awful legacy of the residential schools. I witnessed the power of supportive siblings, spouses, and family members. I witnessed the power of the support of those with a shared common experience. I witnessed the power of telling the difficult story of pain and the abuse suffered by so many people. I also witnessed the healing power of the healing that is found in the spirituality of the culture of the people that were damaged by the residential school experience. I want to speak specifically to the power of the healing that was done in the cultural support space. In my attempt to get a feeling and experience of as much as possible in my time here, I took some time to visit and sit with the traditional healers. I got my own smudge to rid myself of the energy that weighed on me after my first day here, Thursday. I did this yesterday. After my own smudge, I sat and paused. In that time, a woman came into the room. Actually, she was brought by someone. She was in a state of obvious distress. The healers went about their work, and the ceremony broke out. The prayers, the chanting, the drum, the song, the smudge, the sage, the feathers, the voices. It was a powerful experience that I witnessed for the first time in my life. The woman that came into the space sat and was engaged by the healers. With the circle that came around her to offer a healing that she needed that day. I was engrossed in that process and connected with it in a deeply spiritual way. Me just sitting. After the ceremony, the woman spoke aloud and said that she wasn't hurting anymore. But it was much deeper than that, I thought. She connected with something deep inside of her, and her healing came out of that deeply spiritual, deeply powerful ceremony that is meaningful and sacred and holy. She connected with spirit. But my experience did not end there. I sat some more. And at the end of the day, for the healers, they said, now is the time for our own smudge. And I witnessed how other supportive people from the community helped them in their own healing and purification of the energy that they received from people that came to them for healing. In this short time, I saw some of the teachers that come from an Aboriginal approach to healing. The offering of healing to those that needed it, and the importance of self-care for the people doing the hard work that is needed in this exercise of truth and reconciliation. I experienced a connection with a spirituality and culture that is important, that is deep, that is life-giving. I bear witness. I would like to close by sharing something personal with you. Like so many people of spirit, I too wait for that dream, for that thought that comes from outside myself, for that wave of light. And after my first day here, and after my first sleep-deprived night, I sat at the desk in my room and started to write. And my witnessing and my promises come together in these words. These are words. I carried your pain for a day and it changed me. I can never see you in the same way again. I can never make assumptions about your life, your walk again. No more can I fake the understanding of your journey in our country. No more can I ignore the so obvious signs of the results of your pain. No more can I just pass you by. I carried your pain for a day and it hurt me. My sleepless night, my foggy mind, my unsecure steps, my wounded pride, my nervous body, my fragile heart. I carried your pain for a day. Without being taken from my parents, without being separated from my siblings, without reminders of my inferiority, without the void of my mother's love, without the ever-present hawkish gaze of a keeper, without the hurt of a strap. I carried your pain for a day and it hurt me. I carried your pain for a day and it moved me to do my best to be a witness to your pain, to listen to your struggle, to carry this message of our journey together to others, to help you name and claim the truth, to seek reconciliation of all the partners, to journey with you until the road ends. I carried your pain for a day and it moved me. To the commissioners, Sinclair Littlechild, Walalia. To Commissioner Wilson, who invited me personally on this journey, Walalia. To everyone here, survivors, families, friends, supporters, organizers, workers, Walalia.